New gaming pickups from car boot sales, CEX and eBay. Alright everyone, hope you are doing well. Thanks for pressing play once again. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul, and I'm back this time with some new gaming pickups. As always, this time they've come from CEX, one car boot sale, which I wasn't expecting to go to, and also one eBay pickup, which is kind of linked to the car boot sale pickups actually. But we'll dive straight into, I think we'll go to the CEX stuff first. So the stuff from CEX, from the Red Shop. If you watch my last gaming grabs or pickups video, you'll know that I had quite a sort of high value CEX voucher from trade-ins that I'd done, and most of the pickups that I did last time were off that voucher, but I did have some of the voucher left. Quite a decent wedge of that voucher left actually, and with that I've now spent it and picked up these games. One of them probably was a little bit planned, but the other three were a little bit impulse. They've been on my radar, but yeah, a little bit impulse perhaps. But yeah, let's get into them. So the one that was on my radar, and this is down to, again, I've mentioned his channel before, Collector Catharsis. He picked this up, I think it was on one of his videos, I don't think it was on Instagram. He'd picked this up a week or two ago, and I knew about this game, but I'd never really thought to pick it up particularly. I don't know why, because on the Xbox 360 it's quite cheap. But yeah, he picked it up. He described it, or he thought, this is what he thought it was like, was almost like God of War type game, really, with epic sized bosses and hack and slash fun, and that's right up my street. Playing God of War 3 remastered at the moment and really enjoying that. So yeah, when he mentioned this game, I suddenly thought, yeah, I've never picked that up, I've never played it, maybe I should. Anyway, the game is Conan on the Xbox 360, and I paid £4 for that. So yeah, never played this one. I don't think I've ever really picked it up and looked at it, because I've always sort of assumed possibly not that great, but I don't know, it looks all right. I'm quite happy to pick it up, and it's in really nice condition actually for a CEX game. It still even has the little security label on the side of the box. It's very shiny, this box actually, but yeah, it looks all right. Artwork is amazing for it. You can see the cover replicated on the instruction booklet there, but there's also sort of cover art inside the box as well, which you can see there, which is pretty epic looking. So yeah, quite looking forward to playing this one and giving it a go. I'm hoping dumb but fun, and yeah, right up my street. Maybe I should play it straight after God of War. No, maybe I shouldn't play it straight after God of War. Maybe not. We'll see anyway. But yeah, for £4, I thought that was a nice little pickup, that one. So that one actually wasn't on my CEX voucher. Kind of. The rest of these were though. So yeah, Conan on the Xbox 360. Make a bit of room. And then next up, so I'll go to this one first. So PSVR game. This is one of the PSVR games that I didn't have, but I have been wanting to sort of pick it up and give it a try, because it just sounded really interesting. I think it's like a psychological murder mystery type game. Here They Lie on PlayStation 4. Yeah, VR game. Quite looking forward to playing this one as well. Looks really sort of creepy, but again, I don't really know anything about it other than I knew it was a PSVR game, so it was on my list of games for that to get. So yeah, quite looking forward to giving this a go. It does look very, don't know, I mean, the girl on the front looks like she's sort of dressed in 1950s type clothes, so I'm not sure. It looks very sort of noir kind of mystery, murder mystery type game. I don't think it's like survival horror, but I could be wrong. It could be like a psychological horror type game. But yeah, £6 paid for that one, and looking forward to giving that one a go. So yeah, Here They Lie. Looks all right, that one. And then next up, I've got two Nintendo DS games. The first of quite a few DS games I've got this week actually. So which one shall I go for first? We'll go with this one. So this one, again, for some reason, I never really see this one around all that often. I don't know why, because it's not rare or anything like that. But yeah, I saw it in my local CEX, and thought, yeah, I'll give this a go. Metroid Prime Hunters. Now, I have played this game before, and obviously I played the demo as well, because the demo for this came out with the DS that I got originally on day one, actually, back in the day. So I have played the demo. I did play this, but I don't think I ever finished it. And if I'm honest, I don't think I actually got that far through it either. So it's always been on my mind, because I do like Metroid games. So yeah, it's been on my mind to try and get this and play this. Now, obviously, Metroid Prime 4 is on its way soon as well, and I'm not planning on getting a Switch 2, but as far as I know, there is going to be a version for the original Switch as well. I'm sure you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure they said that there was going to be a original Switch version of Prime 4, but I think this ties into that game, into Prime 4 apparently. So yeah, probably a good time to pick this one up. £15 I paid for, which is, I suppose, quite a lot, isn't it, for a Nintendo DS game? But yeah, I just fancy picking it up again, and had the vouchers to hand and thought, why not? Great cover on it. Love the sort of almost like foil effect look of the front cover on that one. But yeah, it looks awesome. And I do remember really quite enjoying what I played of it, but I just don't remember finishing it or anything like that. It is in good condition. The game pack's in the DS, so yeah, it's in decent condition. So yeah, nice little pick up, that one. And yeah, I've been playing it again, and again, sort of quite enjoying it. I must admit, the first 2 times I played it, I switched the DS off and didn't save the game, and I couldn't understand why I'd not saved the game. And it wasn't like an auto save. You have to go back to the ship at the start of the game to save your game, and I've not quite worked out how else you save. So there's a lot to in and throwing. And maybe that's what put me off from playing it when, back in the day. So I don't know, but anyway, yeah, Metroid Prime Hunters. Looking forward to going through that one. And then another Nintendo DS game. Now, there's been a lot of, I think, is it Champion 2D on Instagram, has been posting a lot of like PSP games and Nintendo DS games recently. And he posted a picture of this one, and it completely jogged my memory that I used to have this game. I think I've forgotten about it because I never used to see it out anywhere. I've not seen it in CEX anywhere. I've not seen it in any retro stores or local indie shops or anything like that. It seems like forever since I've seen this game anywhere. But I did a quick look on CEX, and there was stock of it, but not loads. But it just put it back on my radar, and I thought, well, I'll keep an eye out for this. And literally the week after, I can't remember which CEX it was. Which one was it? I can't remember which CEX it was, but they had it in stock. They had it there. I just went into the store and just, they suddenly had it. So it was like it was written that I had to pick this up again. And the game is Bangai-O Spirits for the DS. This is a crazy game. Absolute madness, this game. But it is like a bullet hell shooter. I've never had chance to play the Dreamcast version of Bangai-O, because it's always, or when I had the Dreamcast, that game was always quite pricey. I think it's still quite pricey these days, but it always kind of caught my attention. It just always looked good. This is a lot different to that, I think, but yeah, I mean, I've tried it again as well, and it's quite a crazy game. There's a lot of sort of tutorials at the beginning, which kind of make the game seem like, oh yeah, it's quite straightforward, and then you do another part of the tutorial and it starts to get more complicated, and you think, how complicated can this game be? But then you start the game for real, and it's quite complex, and it's quite difficult, and it's quite hard, but yeah, I don't mind that. So yeah, Bangai-O Spirits. Again, love the front cover on that one, and really good condition again too. So, and I paid £15 for it. So that's 2 DS games I've paid £15 for. Which, if it hadn't been for the vouchers, would I pick them up? Possibly, possibly. I don't know. Maybe that one I would have, definitely, because, like I say, you just don't see it around that often. So yeah, happy with those. So that is all of my CEX vouchers now spent. I've got some games to trade in though. I think I've got the bug for trading in at CEX, so more vouchers on the way, I think. Okay, so moving on to the car boot sale pickups, and I wasn't expecting to go to the car boot sale this weekend because, I don't know, I think the last few car boot sales I've been to have been a little bit disappointing. That being said, the weather is so weird in the UK at the moment. It's like midsummer here, and obviously we're not really even out of spring yet, I suppose, technically. But it's been so nice. It's been so warm, it's really sunny, and you kind of, if you're British, you're from the UK, you kind of have this thing where you think, well, this isn't going to last, and this is going to be our summer. So I've been sort of thinking, well, you should just take advantage of the car boot sales while they're on and while it's nice, and get to them. Fit as many in as you can, money permitting, obviously. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to go to it. I can't remember what swayed my decision. I think I'd woke up early, and I think I woke up at something like 4:30 in the morning, and even then I was sort of thinking, well, give it another hour and you could go super duper early and get there for 5:30. So I couldn't sleep, and I ended up going still about sort of 6:45, something like that. And yeah, I decided to go, and I'm glad I did actually in the end, because I think I came away with, it's a mixed bunch. And it wasn't great for games, I must admit. It was just okay, but there was one seller who kind of rescued the morning for me, and made it very much worthwhile. So the first car boot seller that I came across had games. So, as soon as I saw these, and I was like, oh, this is a good sign. It wasn't a good sign, but it was in the end. You know me, I ramble. So anyway, let's show you the two games that I got from that first seller. Again, nothing spectacular with some of these, but I'll get on. Super Buster Move on the PlayStation 2, and this was £1, and this game is going to give me serious OCD because of the spine, and I think that's one of two games that have like a coloured spine for the PS2 in this country anyway. I think the other one is it like RC Pro-Am or something like that, and that has like a black and red spine, I think, something. It was, both of them are quite sort of early PS2 games, so they mustn't have got the memo over there for those two games. But yeah, Super Buster Move. I've never picked this up before, and it is a really cheap game. I think it's about £2.50 maybe in CEX at the moment. A lot of people love this front cover. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't get it. I just don't get it really. But Super Buster Move, I do like Buster Move games, as you will see. So yeah, I thought I'd pick that up, and it's in really lovely, really nice condition actually. So yeah, that was a nice little pickup. £1 paid for that. And they were also selling, to my surprise, there was like a whole sort of box full of 3DS games. And you don't see 3DS games at sort of car boot sales all that often. And you don't see them at the prices that this guy was selling them for either. Now, I think I probably maybe missed the boat by being there late. It looked like a few had gone already. But they were all sort of reasonably priced. But the ones that he had left, wouldn't you know it, I got all of them. There must have been about 10 there, and I had all of the games that he had there. But they were all like £1, £2. I think that the most there was like £4 on one of them. So for some reason, I just thought I just want to pick one of these up just because they're so nicely priced. So I did, and I thought, well, maybe I might get a bit of resell or retrade, trade in on this from CEX. So I grabbed this one. But I'm not going to get much back on it either. I'll get my money back, but not a huge amount. But yeah, £2 paid for Ridge Racer 3D. I think you get £3 trade, I think, on that. I think it's £3 trade on that at CEX. So I'll make £1 on it, but I have already got that. And I just felt like I'll just pick it up. I'm not one for flipping games or anything like that. But I thought, well, I'll just take a bit of a punt and see how much I can get for that as well. But yeah, £2 for Ridge Racer 3D. I feel guilty actually, because maybe I've stopped somebody else from picking up an absolute bargain there. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, £2 for that. So I was quite happy with those two little pickups. I also picked this one up. It's not a game, it's a film. It was only a couple of weeks ago I'd realised that I'd not got these on Blu-ray anymore. I think I sold the box set, and they're not on any streaming services, I don't think, at the moment. And I really wanted to watch this one, so I was quite happy to find this at the car boot sale. And it's an area that I have kind of never really massively looked into, Blu-rays and films at car boot sales. But this one was it was right at the front of a sort of row of Blu-rays, and I thought, oh, for £1, I'll pick that up. Batman, the original Batman film. Well, not the original Batman film. The original Batman film was the Adam West one, but the original Tim Burton Batman film. And yeah, I do love this film. I think it's such an amazing film. I like Batman Returns as well, but you can't beat this one, I don't think. 1989, just absolutely awesome film. Iconic performances from Jack Nicholson. But yeah, paid £1 for that, and it's, again, really nice condition. It's like brand new almost. So I picked that up for £1 and walked around the rest of the car boot sale, and I was sort of thinking, there's not much else going on here. There was none of the usual kind of independent game, dedicated game sellers at this car boot sale either. So yeah, I was sort of walking around thinking, slim pickings here. I'm not sure I'm going to come away with much. So yeah, I was thinking the worst, but wouldn't you know it, and this is how it happens at car boot sales, you have to be eagle-eyed, you have to keep going, you have to keep checking, because there are hidden bargains in there, hidden gaming gems to be had. And I just happened to sort of walk past one stall, didn't notice the original sort of stack of games that were on his table, because it was just these separate games kept aside. It was actually the box on the floor I saw first, and I saw loads of games in there. And I won't go into tell you what games they were, but yeah, there was loads of games in there, and straight away I made a beeline for the box and then noticed the games on the table as well. And it's funny because I was looking through it, and the guy whose table it was and whose games it was, he actually sort of just mentioned and said, "Oh, are you on YouTube?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." He said, "Oh, I watch your channel, I subscribe to it. So if you're watching, Craig, thank you very much for rescuing my morning at that car boot sale, because honestly, you made my day." And there were some really good games actually. Not necessarily outstanding games or anything like that, and there was a story behind how he came across these games. So I think he was working on somebody's house or garden or something like that, and you hear stories like this quite often, don't you? Working on some old guy's garden or house, and found a box in a shed with just tons of games in it, and they'd been there for however many years. So he'd asked about them to the guy who owns the house, and he basically just sort of said, "Well, I'll make you an offer for them," and came away with them. And he said that there was one game that he took away for himself, because it was a quite high value game, but I'll get into that in a bit. But the rest he was sort of just selling, and he was selling them at really reasonable prices as well. So I picked out a few, and I'll show you what I've picked up now. So I said that I've been on a bit of a Nintendo DS craze, so I've got 3 more DS games. And I'll start with this one. So Football Academy. It's EA Sports game. I don't know. I'd never heard of this one before. And by the way, he was charging £1.50 for the DS games, which again I think is pretty reasonable. I've no idea how much this one's worth or how much the others are worth, to be honest. I think one of them might be worth a little bit more than that, but not much more. But yeah, Football Academy, and this is kind of like a football, don't know, sort of mini game type game. There's like quizzes in it as well. So yeah, I just thought maybe it might be quite interesting. I thought it was interesting that Luis Felipe Scolari, he used to be, I think he was the Italian manager, wasn't he? He used to manage the national team. He's kind of like, I don't know, the poster boy for this game, oddly enough. Very strange. But yeah, just thought, well, I'll pick that one up for £1.50. Nice and complete. I also picked up Bust a Move DS as well, so that was £1.50. So yet another Bust a Move game added to the collection. How many have I got? And I've got the Wii version. Obviously now I've got that version I'll show you before. I think I've got a 3DS. I've got a 3DS version. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Bust a Move DS on the Nintendo DS. I had a go with that. It's good fun. Just standard Bust a Move stuff really. And I also picked up this one, Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars as well. This one's a little bit rough and ready. Possibly the inside of the box needs a little bit of a clean, and the manual's a bit crispy. I don't know if you can hear that. A bit cracky. So yeah, it just needs a bit of a clean, that one. But oh my god, that's rock hard. That is absolutely solid. That's the health and safety manual. Can you hear that? Oh my god. If I bend that too much, I think it's going to snap in two. But yeah, like I said, these have been kept in someone's... Oh my god, it's like welded together. I've never... yeah, been stored in somebody's shed for God knows how many years, and rescued by Craig. And I've bought some of them, but yeah, like I say, this one needs a bit of a clean up, I think, possibly a new box. But I've not played Broken Sword. I've never played a Broken Sword game ever, actually. So I would imagine this probably translates pretty well to handheld in the DS. So I do like kind of these mystery sort of type point and click adventure type games on handheld consoles. So yeah, quite looking forward to playing that one. So they were all £1.50 each. There was a few Nintendo Wii games at the bottom of the box as well. Not a huge amount to sort of shout about. They were sort of fairly like sports games pretty much, to be honest. But this one was in there. And the reason this one sort of stood out was because it was still sealed. So I thought, well, I think all the Wii games were £1. So I thought for £1, for a sealed Wii game, why not? I'll just pick it up. And that game is Billy the Wizard Rocket Broomstick Racing. Yeah, I mean, I've seen this one around quite a bit. It's only a cheap game, but for £1 for a sealed game, I thought, well, why not? Let's give that a go. It's going to be, in fab condition in it. So, yeah, it's some sort of racing game. I'm imagining it's a bit like sort of a cheaper version of Harry Potter's. Is it Quidditch or something like that? I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but this looks like a kind of cheaper version of that, perhaps. But yeah, for £1, I thought, why not? Let's grab that. Right, so those were the sort of cheap and cheerful games. I will move on now to what made up the majority of that box. Now, the box and the games that were on the table were all Sega Mega Drive games. I do like collecting Sega Mega Drive games at the moment. I just think it's quite a easy console to collect for because the prices can be quite varied, and usually come with a decent box as well. The boxes are usually pretty robust, and they clean up easy as well. But yeah, I think there's some decent games at decent prices for the Mega Drive, and these were at decent prices as well. So two of these games were all the Mega Drive games that were in the box. And again, there was a lot of sports titles in there, and these two are racing games as well. So the sort of cheaper end games were in the box. And then there was about 7 or 8 higher value Mega Drive games. So Craig knows this stuff. He knew which ones were good and which ones were sort of cheaper games. But yeah, I picked out these two partly because I've not got them, but also, and weirdly enough, all the games I picked out are all Blue Spine Mega Drive games. I do like the Blue Spine ones. I know a lot of people prefer the kind of black grid design Mega Drive games, but I quite like the blue design ones. So these two were both £3 each. They've got £5 stickers on them, but he decided, I think, on the day to just do them at £3, these ones. So the first one is Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing on the Mega Drive. Again, really nice condition, these. Just need a bit of a clean. This one is a bit sort of dusty, but it just needs a clean, that's all. Inside, instruction book's a little bit tatty, but not enough to sort of like think, well, I'll just throw that away. And the actual cartridge itself is absolutely immaculate. So yeah, I thought for £3, I'm not gonna turn that one down. Just really nice looking game, and it looks a bit like, I don't know, is it Monaco GP and Ayrton Senna's racing on the Mega Drive? So it's going to be sort of similar, along the same sort of lines as that, and it is by Konami as well. So yeah, I thought, well, I'll pick that one up. And then another one from that cheapy box was Kawasaki Superbikes. So again, there's a £5 on there, but he sold them on for £3 to me. But again, I don't know anything about this game, but it is just going to be sort of a racing game. And this one is absolutely immaculate. Look at the instruction booklet there. That looks like it's probably never been taken out of the box. It even smells. I mean, that one smells a little bit like shed. If you know what I mean. If you're a gardener, you'll know what I mean. But that smells like shed, that one. But this one actually smells almost brand new. It looks absolutely immaculate. Look at that instruction booklet. Not a dint on it, not a crease on it or anything. So that looks amazing until I drop it. And then again, the cartridge, really good condition as well. I mean, I'm almost thinking this one's never even been played. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe I've been duped. But I'm sure it's all right. £3. I'm not going to complain. So yeah, those two were £3 each. And I was happy enough with those. And then I started to look through the games that he had on the table as well. And straight away there was one game which sort of caught my eye. And by this time, I'd already bought those and the DS game. So I was starting to run out of cash a little bit. So I think I went away and then came back because I sort of changed my mind. I thought, well, there's nothing else here. I'm going to pick that one up and inquire about another. So the first, well, these two were on the table, and the first one I've got was, or the first one I picked up was Miss Pac-Man. So again, on the Mega Drive, blue spine box, absolutely immaculate condition. The only thing with this one was there's no cartridge. So he was very upfront and said, oh, there's no cartridge for the Miss Pac-Man. Instruction book's there and nice condition as well. And the box is in really nice condition as well. But yeah, no cartridge. So I was like, drat. And he said, but you can have that for £1. So I thought, well, I'm not going to leave that. I'll pick that up for £1. And what I'll do is have a look on eBay. So that's where the eBay comes into this week's pickups. And I have a delivery. So let's have a look at this. And this is the weirdest packaging I've seen for an eBay delivery. But it's just the cartridge only, obviously. There we go. But it looks fine. So I've now got the cartridge as well. Miss Pac-Man. And as you can see there, I paid £6 for that. Which I thought was pretty reasonable. I think the CEX price for this overall, boxed and complete is it 12 or is it 14? I think it's one or the other. It's 12 or 14 pounds. I can't remember. But so yeah, I've paid £6 for that and £1 for that, so I paid £7. So yeah, really happy with that. It was worth picking up the box, and for £1, really pleased with that. So there is now, nice and complete, Miss Pac-Man. Never played this one, never had this one, but I've heard it's alright. So yeah, happy with that one. And then the final Mega Drive game, and this is the one I was sort of like deliberating over, and I'm glad I picked it up now because I've played it. I played it before actually. I played it on one of the compilation discs. But it's never quite the same. I've said this before. It's never quite the same when you play it on one of them compilation discs. When you play it on the Mega Drive, it's so much better. And anyway, that game is Dynamite Heady, and I paid £13 for that. And I think is it £13 in CEX or is it £15 in CEX? I'm not sure. I'll double check and probably put it there. But yeah, Dynamite Heady. It's a treasure game, and I would say this is what, for my money anyway, this is one of the best looking Mega Drive games. I really think it's that good. And it's a fantastic game as well. So it's like a 2D platformer, like a lot of the treasure games, 2D platformer, sort of shooter elements to it, but there's just so much going on with this game. And I think with some of the other Mega Drive platformers, they can be quite kind of basic in a way. I think it got to a point with some of the games on the Mega Drive, platformer games, where I don't know, they kind of ran out of ideas, but there's so much packed into this game. It's sort of full of like personality. The music is amazing as well, but there's so many sort of clever ideas in there that the bosses are really cleverly designed. It's a tough game. It's a treasure game. It's a tough game, but it's never frustrating. I think that's the way I would put it. Let's open it up. So yeah, again, nice and complete. Cartridges in immaculate condition. Again, I mean, some of these don't look like they've hardly been touched or played. So maybe they just haven't. I don't know. But and there's the instruction booklet as well, which again, in really good condition. And actually, those two that are on the table, that one and Miss Pac-Man, they don't need cleaning up or anything like that. It's just the other two that were sort of in the box. So yeah, I was really happy with those. Really happy to pick up some Mega Drive games. I love, for some reason, I think picking up Mega Drive games at the car boot sale, because I've done it quite a bit now. I've found quite a few Mega Drive games in the past. I think it's one of my favourite things. I love picking up these games at car boot sales for nice prices, for decent prices, affordable prices. So yeah, really happy with that one though. Definitely the highlight of the week for me. Normally when I've got through all of the pickups that I've done, I usually go through one or two and say, oh, I'm really looking forward to playing this one. Can't wait to play this one. And I've got to be honest, I think all of these games I'm quite looking forward to playing. All right, maybe not Billy the Witch or whatever it was called, and possibly the... I don't know about that Football Academy, but the rest of them I'm genuinely really looking forward to giving a playthrough of all of these. Looking forward to that one. Looking forward to playing that again. I'm going to swap in Ridge Racer, but yeah, I want to play all of these as well. And I love the Blue Spines, so I can't wait to get those onto the shelves as well with the rest of my Blue Spine Mega Drive games, because that's starting to build a little bit of a collection of those now. Yeah, I don't do full sets or anything like that because I don't want to buy rubbish. Maybe I have with Kawasaki, I don't know. But I don't want to buy full sets. I don't do that. But yeah, just looking forward to playing all of these. So it's been a good week. Good week of pickups, that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As always, have you played any of these games? Let me know in the comments. What did you think of Dynamite Headdy? Have you played that one? If not, maybe you should. Metroid Prime Hunters, let me know. Just confirm to me, Prime 4 is coming out on the original Switch, isn't it? Please tell me it is. I'm sure it is, but if I'm wrong, tell me so I don't get my hopes up. But yeah, good week, and like I say, just if you've played any of them, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will always try to reply. I'm going to go off and watch Batman now. I'll see you next time.